So, I've been 100% against this Last of Us Part 1 remake since the jump, since it was first rumored. I've said, for one, I don't think the game needs a remake, and I certainly don't think whatever changes you're going to make would be enough to justify buying the game yet again for the third time, this time for $70. And every time we get an update on this thing, I just feel more and more confident in my position, and today is no different. Yeah, we got those initial screenshots right when the game was first announced, and I looked at that stuff and was like, are you serious? But, you know, people said, you gotta wait, you're gonna be blown away once you see the game in action, like you see raw gameplay, all these new improvements they're gonna make, it's gonna be like a whole new experience. And yeah, well, we finally did see some raw, uncut gameplay, and I was, in fact, blown away, but not for the reasons many people said I would be. So first, let's start this story at the beginning. There was a leak for The Last of Us Part 1 remake about 2 days ago, which finally showed some gameplay. And yeah, I was blown away by how little of a difference it looked like from the original game. Visually, like in raw visuals, details and stuff, there was a significant improvement. I still don't even think in the visuals department the visual improvements are big enough to justify a full-on remake, a full-on $70 remake. But the thing that caught many people off guard, myself included, was the gameplay looked pretty much unchanged. Even like the animations and all that seemed the same. And the thing is here, again, you gotta remember, when I was criticizing, people like me were criticizing this when it first was announced, this was the big thing, like, oh, you're gonna have to see all the big overhaul this game gets, how it's gonna be completely changed. Look, of course, but also feel like a totally new game. These are Naughty Dog's words as well. From the initial trailer, it said, the entire game is built from the ground up. They have the description on the store. We modernized the gameplay, overhauled it, okay? So it's like, this is stuff they're saying too. And I see this gameplay hit and I'm like, really? This is what you were talking about? You know, I think to a lot of big remakes recently, let's say the Resident Evil 2 remake, I can pretty easily tell what the value is in giving Resident Evil 2 the full remake treatment. I just didn't think the upgrades were going to be enough. And so seeing this, I'm feeling even more so reassured, but I also felt like this was so bad, I actually at first didn't think it was real, and that's why I didn't do a video. Like many of you may have been thinking I was going to do a video when those leaks first dropped. Many other people did. I waited because I'm like, this just can't be real, and I assumed, I even put this out on Twitter, I'm like, Naughty Dog should do something. They need to come out and be like, wait, guys, that's not true, here's all the cool shit we've got. And they did do that. They put out, it basically took a day for them to, I would say, respond to this and put out a straight up, a new video going over all the new features coming in Last of Us Part 1. Now, am I trying to act like, oh, they filmed this whole thing and put it together in a day just to, you know, counterbalance, just to have some damage control over this? No, this was obviously something that was in production for a while, but I definitely think it was released. They pulled the trigger on making that sucker go live directly because of this leak. So I watched this video, many others did. It's got, it's not massively disliked, the YouTube video right now. It's kind of weird too, because, you know, I've got that, you can't really tell what the 100% real, like, live dislikes are, because it's a whole weird thing, because you have to install these because, you know, YouTube took away dislikes, so you got to run these other programs to even see them, so it's hard to know how accurate this is. I've seen people show stuff on the back end like, hey, if you have these programs, it's saying there's this many dislikes, but I can show you on my end, like the creator's end, it doesn't say there's this many dislikes. So it sucks. The likes and dislikes are fairly close, 24K likes to 14K dislikes, so still more likes than dislikes. Either way, this is clearly a bit controversial. And yeah, I watched the trailer. It still just doesn't impress me at all when we're talking about, once more, the key thing, and I think this is hard for a lot of these fanboys, you're trying to justify me why the resources went into completely remaking this game from the ground up, and why I should pay $70 after I've already bought this game. Bought it once on the PS3 and bought it remastered again on the PS4, and now I'm supposed to buy it again for $70 on the PS5. And I just don't see it, boys. A lot of the visual stuff, they do those little comparison type things going back and forth. Yes, it looks better, but I don't think the upgrade is that significant. Again, then when you talk about gameplay, we can see the gameplay in the video they uploaded. It is still, in many ways, the same. There are changes that they do highlight stuff. One of the things they focused on was like Joel doing the upgrade bench type thing. That's very Last of Us 2. But again, when we heard that this game was going to get a full remake, speaking of Last of Us 2, many of us thought there were going to be elements from that game brought in, like the dodging, going prone and stuff like that. And their video pretty much reconfirms what we saw in the leak. That sort of stuff in terms of a significant gameplay change isn't there. I mean, they spend a lot of time on this video talking about like the DualSense features with the PS5 controller, which a bunch of games added that in their like director's cut type versions on the PS5 that you could get with a cheaper upgrade. So sorry, that ain't selling me on it. Stuff like the new survival mode, costumes and that are cool, but again, not something you couldn't have just added to the game. I'm not trying to just hate on this. There was stuff that I do think was a not just an improvement and needed improvement. If you go back and watch the video I did on Last of Us Part 1, the original, before Part 2 came out, I did a video. It was like, what was it called? Is The Last of Us Part 1 really that good? I think it was called. And one of my complaints in that video was about how the AI, your partner AI, is so derpy and they just kind of run around aimlessly, and it really hurts the immersion because basically what they had to do was just turn your partner AI, like Ellie's, visibility off to the enemies, whether it be the clickers, regular people, and that, so that her stupid AI could just run around and it wouldn't get you detected. Now they've got the AI playing a bit smarter. It doesn't look so ridiculous. That, I think, is a welcome change. They also talked about the AI with the enemies. They're gonna like be a little bit smarter. This is the kind of stuff I like to see. Like, if you're gonna justify a remake, these are the kind of things I would look at. But what they showed in that department, I just don't think is very impressive. They talk about like a little bit more like physics stuff when walls and stuff are getting shot at. Okay. Again, though, $70 for this? I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Like, watching this, and this is a thing I tried to convey, again, in the original video I did about this, I'm not saying at all that this isn't going to be the definitive version of the game. I'm sure it will be. But is this worth $70? Is this worth the resources? Could a lot of this stuff have been done in like another remaster, making a sort of, again, director's cut version of Last of Us remastered? I think so. You don't have a lot of that gameplay. And it's funny, you know, like, again, because of course you got a million defenders. You got fanboys that'll be like, with the prone and the dodging and all that stuff. This is a perfect example about like whether or not this remake is doing enough or it's necessary. People will defend, well, it's like, well, this game wasn't built with that stuff in mind. Yeah, but you're rebuilding the game. That should be the point. Like, you're building the game again from the ground up. People are defending this, it feels almost like, with the remastered mindset. Like, oh, well, the original game, it wasn't built for these stuff. Like, having stuff with the rope and all that, swinging around. Yeah, but you're remaking it. So it's like, you could put whatever you want in it. You can make this great. Again, Resident Evil 2. Imagine having the same logic. Oh, well, you know, that game, it's restricted. It's built to be played with tank controls, with a fixed camera angle. When you're remaking the game from the ground up with modern technology, you are only restricted by the modern technology. You can make the game whatever you want. There's no excuse for the corner cutting. Oh, well, that'd be a lot of work to add that stuff in. You have to change the level designs and all this stuff. That's what you're charging me for. You're charging me the price of a brand new next-gen game. It is not out of line to expect a brand new next-gen game in return. It's just not enough, boys. It's not enough. You know, there was another thing I saw too, like before this, because I think, yeah, after Last of Us 2, it's kind of a cool thing to hate on Naughty Dog, to hate on the Last of Us series. I'm one of the people who didn't enjoy Last of Us 2, but people have tried to like kind of point this in a different direction. Like, what if this was a different game? where things weren't controversial, something that a lot of people like or want an upgraded version of. I saw, man, hopefully I can find it and put it up. It was for Bloodborne. Somebody was like, oh, would you be happy to do this, pay for this if it was Bloodborne with new assets, 4K, 60 frames per second, all that, because, everybody loves Bloodborne. And I think hopefully this is a good way to convey that this idea I have doesn't change. I do not want a Bloodborne remake either. Just like with Last of Us Part 1, take Bloodborne and just give me my goddamn 60 frames per second. That's all I've been wanting with this game since the PS4 Pro came out. It doesn't even have to be 4K 60. Give me 1080p 60. Give it to me for either a cheap upgrade, honestly something like that I think should be for free, and take those resources that you would have blown on a Bloodborne remake, on this Last of Us remake, and make something else. Making Last of Us Part 3. Again, I said in that original video, I would love to see Naughty Dog bring back Jak and Daxter. You want to talk about something that could really benefit from being remade, reintroduced to a new audience in a big, fancy, new PS5 quality game. There you go. This has nothing to do with the game, the developer. And like I said, I don't want to get just recite everything that I went over in that original video when this remake got announced, but I said in that too, I just don't want this also to become like the new trend that we're remaking games that are 9 years old because it's just a big game, it's a big name, it's going to be successful. Because again, even with this coming out and not looking like a very significant upgrade, I think many others think that in terms of forcing you to have to pay $70 for this, it's not looking so hot, it's not looking worth it. It's still going to sell. I know it's still going to sell because it's The Last of Us. This is one of the most popular games of the last couple generations, probably one of the top 5 new IPs of the last couple generations. So of course it's going to sell. But yeah, I would much rather something else new be made. Is it cool? Like, again, some of the AI stuff they're doing to fix that stuff up, yeah. But I ain't paying $70 for it. I'm actually not going to commit to that because I might, I reserve the right to buy the game to actually do a full review on it when it comes out. But I certainly, if I wasn't intending on possibly doing that, I definitely wouldn't be buying this. I would certainly be waiting for a significant sale. I probably wouldn't pay, given that I've bought the game again twice now, I wouldn't pay more than $20-25 for this. 30, yeah, I think would even be pushing it. And that is actually another aspect I'd want to address is, yes, I also know not everyone bought this game on the PS3. Not everybody bought it on the PS4. And some people may have never even played this game at all. And they may be interested in it. But still, here's what I'd say. This may very well end up being the best way to play it. But should even newcomers, do I think this looks like something they should spend the $70 playing when they can get the remaster hella cheap now? If you're subscribed to PlayStation Plus, you can play the remaster for free, and you don't have to wait. You can play it right now. That's what I would recommend newcomers do. Play the remaster and save your $70 for an actual new PS5 game. So yeah, I don't think this logic should be restricted just to people who have bought the game once or multiple times at this point. And I will say, even though once more, I think this game will end up selling well, this whole damage control thing, this video with these features and that, I think was still a total fail because the point of it was not to sway fanboys, Sony ponies who are already going to buy this game regardless. Okay, that's not what this video was for. This video was put out to convince people like me who didn't think this thing was going to be very impressive from the start. I definitely don't think you got that crowd. But also the people who were swayed against it because of the leak, because the leak showed that this game, gameplay-wise, wasn't going to be all that drastically different, and I don't think this video helped with that either. I think overall that leak hurt this game a lot. I saw a lot of people who were on board with this until they saw the leak. It totally turned them off, and they also watched this video, and the video didn't bring them back. So I think this whole effort was a big failure. Anyway, with that, I'm going to cut myself off here. With that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on all these Last of Us Part 1 remake revelations in the comments. What did you think when you saw the leak? What do you think about Naughty Dog's damage control on this whole thing? Are you going to buy the game? Were you going to buy it before the leak came out and you're still going to buy it? Did the leak in that turn you off from this? Were you never going to buy it? As always, I'm the Shy Guy, Johnny Zakari, and thanks for watching.